You were born for joy. You were born full of awe and wonder, able to see and feel the magic of life. But now most of us are somewhat separated from joy. We're disconnected from ourselves, from each other, and from the planet. And each of these disconnections has its own price. Because we're disconnected from ourselves, we're tired, obese, thirsty, and distracted. Because we're separated from each other, any little form of conflict can turn into aggression and violence. And because we're disconnected from nature, we're raping and soiling the planet. Now, we can try to distract ourselves and not really feel all of these different pains of disconnection with things like food, alcohol, work, drugs, and the constant digital onslaught of everything from texts to television. Or we can re-energize, reconnect, and rediscover our joy. We can engage in practices so that we create an environmentally sustainable, socially just, and spiritually fulfilling human presence on this planet. Now, I was born with a playful spirit and a real sense of joy, but I got a lot of praise for being smart and being a high achiever. And I now think of myself as kind of a serious person in recovery. And I've engaged in a really lifelong search of ways to bring more joy to my life and the life of others, and I have what I call 5 elements of joy. So first, you can build a foundation by doing all the things that almost everybody knows and almost nobody does, like drink enough water, have good food, physical activity, enough sleep and recovery, and mindfulness. And if you start to look for all these good things, you never know where joy will find you. Your fried eggs might teach you that there's yin and yang in all things. Now, when I go and I talk to people and I say, what's great about your life and about your job? Often they'll say some version of the people. But when I ask them, what don't you like about your life or your job, they'll usually say some version of the people. Now, when we get it right and we create loving relationships, that is really one of the ways we deepen our joy in life. And that's the second element of joy. So a lot of the richness and tapestry of our lives comes within those loving relationships. And when you find people who share your passions, we might say great minds think alike. Well, great hearts feel alike. And when you can be in community and be with people, and whether it's sharing a meal or just being together, it really is one of life's real culminations. George Bernard Shaw said that the true joy in life is being used for a purpose deemed by yourself to be a mighty one. And he also said that life is a sort of splendid torch. Finding what lights you up, inspiration, is the third element of joy. And when you use your imagination and you start to ask yourself questions like, what could you do if you knew that you could not fail? You start to connect with your inspiration. Khalil Gibran wrote, I slept and I dreamt that life was all joy. I woke and I saw that life was all service. I served and I saw that service is joy. My true joy is being a teacher, and I find it gives me a lot of fulfillment and meaning and purpose. And if you're having trouble finding joy, a great roadmap is go out and make somebody else's day. The power of nature, the fourth element of joy, it really just by being in nature increases our well-being, it enhances our immune system, and it clearly connects us to something bigger than ourselves. And whether you just go for a walk in the river valley, or maybe you take a trip into deep wilderness, or maybe even just be really present while you gaze at a plant in your office or home, that nature has a way of bringing contentment, tranquility, and cheerfulness, which brings us a long way toward joy. The fifth and final element that gives us the spirit and mood of joy is laughter, humor, and pure play. Next slide. Just kidding. I get to teach a class about play, and sometimes it all comes together, and we get to go outside with great people and learn and explore and do physical activity, and it really is fantastic. So if you engage in the practices and you have the right attitude, you can find joy just about anywhere, even when you're getting your teeth cleaned. And a shout out to Yavar Mahatget Garumi, whose last name is 15 letters. Joy really is both a journey and a destination. So each morning you can start off with a jump start for joy. You can practice these 5 elements of joy and then live your birthright, sustaining joy. I'm Billy Strean. Thank you.